Welcome to Binge Watchers, where we talk about the stories and characters we love and the shows they live in. My name is Ron. Let's talk about Season 2 of Luther. Just before we get to the review, I want to remind you that the Binge Watchers Q&A is coming up, so if you have any questions for me about anything, leave it in the comments or tweet it at me with the hashtag BWQA. On to the review. Season 2 continues to follow Detective Chief Inspector John Luther as he tackles creative crime. Let's jump right into it. As far as the procedural side of things goes, this season keeps and improves on everything from season 1. There are really only two main cases going on in this season, with another side story going on in the background. Each case gets 2 episodes, and both of these cases were creative, twisted, and captivating. Season 1 of Luther dealt with a few serial killers that were kind of out there as well, but the ones in season 2 knocked it out of the park. Each one of them was unique and intriguing. It's very rare for me to actually want to know why a killer is killing people in this type of show. And even though you only get to spend a very brief period of time with these psychopaths, I felt that the show did a great job in getting me interested in them. Idris Elba as John Luther is still the best thing about this show, but if we got more Alice in this season, she would have been my favorite thing about this show. That's actually one of my complaints about this show. We get very little Alice in this season. When she's there, she's absolutely fantastic. Why do we get so little of her? She's such an interesting character. At some points, she might be even more interesting than Luther himself. And the relationship between them is so weird and intriguing. On the one hand, these two shouldn't really have anything to do with each other, but on the other, it makes so much sense that they get one another. Anyway, not enough Alice. For better or for worse, this season is not as personal as season 1. The cases, the investigations, the interrogations are all beautifully done, but we don't get as much insight into John Luther as we did in season 1. There is actually a side story in this season that has to do with something John takes upon himself, but it's nothing like the season 1 story about his relationship with Zoe. Having said that, I did like the side story in this season because it was a really good fit with who we know John is. Something that we already know about John is that he cares more about doing what he believes is the right thing than actually following the rules. So if he feels there's something that needs to be done, but it doesn't exactly align with the law, he's going to bend the rules or straight up break them in order to get it done. There are a few interesting things about this. One is seeing Luther work with someone who used to be sort of his enemy. And 2, seeing how the other people on his team react to his way of doing things. After season 1, he has Ripley's undying loyalty, but how does someone new feel about these things? Season 2 of Luther is only 4 episodes long, and that's probably my biggest problem with it. While 6 episodes was perfect for season 1, 4 episodes just doesn't feel like enough for season 2. The season tells a very short, sort of disjointed story that kind of feels incomplete. I mean, the main story arc does get resolved, but you finish the season with sort of a that's it kind of feeling. Because the entire season is 2 unrelated serial killer cases, which are awesome, another interesting side story, and a tiny bit of Alice. So my general feeling is that they didn't have enough episodes to make the season a more coherent story. I'm guessing that's also the reason they didn't have time to dig into Luther himself a bit more. Bottom line, should you watch it? Season 2 of Luther still has most of the things that made season 1 good. If you enjoyed the individual stories told in season 1, you're going to love the ones in season 2. Generally, I liked season 1 better because I like it when a story is more personal. Season 1 had some great procedural episodes, but it was also John Luther's story. You do get a little bit of that in season 2, but not enough. Still, season 2 has great procedural stories, interesting bad guys. Luther's process is still so much fun to watch, and I liked seeing how the events that went down in the end of season 1 affected Luther's decision-making process. Basically, he has even more of a fuck it attitude. And did I mention that this season doesn't have enough Alice? Because I'm not sure I mentioned that. What about you? Did you watch season 2 of Luther? How did you feel it compared to season 1? Let's get the discussion going down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps out a lot. And remember, you can go to bingewatchers.space/vote and vote on what gets reviewed next on this channel. And if you're finding Binge Watchers for the first time, welcome. I'd like to invite you to join the Binge Watchers community. Talk about TV with us. It's a lot of fun. But in any case, keep binging, and I will see you next time.